Look at state of the nation issues in the polity before we get into 2017. Quite a number: the fight against corruption, Magu's non-confirmation, acting CJN's confirmation, and even call for the SGF removal. We're not being joined by Professor Akin Oyebode. He's of the International Law, University of Lagos. Good morning and thanks for joining us. Merry Christmas.
Well, I wish you the same.
You know, a whole lot has been happening, and for Nigerians, they started off the Christmas with news of defeat by the Nigerian troop of Boko Haram. Mr. Addition has said that's the press using the word. But for many Nigerians, they will be excited to hear more about the fight against corruption. And within the presidency, we've heard about two, or maybe the SGF as is also an allegation about some contract awarded to a company he once was a director. And now Mr. Addition has said that the president has constituted an investigative panel to look into all of that. So we were trying to also ask him if this doesn't put a dent on the president's fight against corruption, since these are more or less members of his kitchen cabinet.
Well, it's a very unseemly situation. Where people are saying physician heal thyself. If you want to give somebody, as the Yoruba will say, some dress, they look at what you are wearing yourself. You can't give what you don't have. So the government faces a wide, or an increasingly wide, credibility gap. Okay. President Buhari came with tremendous goodwill in terms of belonging to none and belonging to all, blah, blah, blah. But in the last 1.5 years, it seems people just give wide yawns when they hear the fight against corruption. And if those two are very close to the presidency, have been, I won't say indicted, accused of some untoward behavior, I think the president ought to have relieved him of his post, put him on hold, ask him to step aside whilst the investigation is on. Femi Adesina did a good job. That the Attorney General of the Federation is in charge of the Ministry of Justice to conduct investigations and what have you. But I'm talking of this increasingly wide credibility gap around the president. Not that he is not trusted, but people think he has not demonstrated sufficient panache in terms of prosecuting his anti-corruption crusade. I'm aware of SAGI's committee to advise and the tremendous work they've done, but the lack of confirmation of Magu's position also widens that gap. The president ought to have done his homework before submitting his name to Senate. That is a nasty slap on the face for the president of this country. If he wants to cut his loss, maybe he will want to withdraw the nomination. Twice now we've had Senate standing by their rejection. And they put the presidency in a nasty spot. I don't know the veracity of the allegations against Magu, but I know Magu has intensified the anti-corruption stance. And maybe Mokwe was talking about a conspiracy theory. I think she got her finger on it. There are certain people who are not altogether happy with Magu retaining that position. They're even asking him to step aside from the acting position merely because they want more convincing proof of his competence or lack of a bad track record. So I'm saying that the government seems to be in a quagmire right now. And almost 2 years down the road, people are wondering, how did things get so rotten? But then I'm reminded of Murphy's Law, that if things can get bad, they will get bad. So Murphy's Law is alive and well in Nigeria. And despite the goodwill of the president, and most of his ministers, people want to see evidence of the change that they promised, or that heralded his coming to the villa. So where is that change? You don't pass the buck to the people that the change starts with you. The change should start with the presidency. And then show the light, people will follow. You don't pass the buck and ask the people to begin the change. How can they begin the change? Once you lead properly, like Jerry Garner used to say, then if you are leading, you lead well. And there's some gap, there's some vacuum that is noticeable within the Buhari administration.
We'll come back, we'll explore that further. We'll take a moment and we'll return and look at some of these issues, a potpourri of them that Professor Oyebode has just touched on, SGF, Magu, and even the change begins with me mantra of the government of the day. That's after now. We have with us Professor Akin Oyebode, and we're looking at state of the nation. Specifically, let's look at some of these matters. If we're looking at the presidency and his kitchen cabinet, let's not also forget that in the course of the year 2016, we also had a voice. It could be a lone voice, but it was so loud that got a lot of people talking. The voice from the First Lady of the Federation. The president's wife also spoke about men around the president then. And she gave indication that all is not well around the kitchen cabinet of the presidency, even though the president went ahead to downplay that very matter. With what is happening now with the SGF, looking at what exactly is also happening with the non-confirmation of Ibrahim Magu, because looking at the hierarchy, good thing you are a professor of law, one would have thought that the office of the NSA should be the first to receive that report, who will now go on to also brief Mr. President on the outcome of the findings of Mr. Magu. But we saw that on live television from the Senate.
Well, it seems to me that the right hand does not know what the left